Okay, welcome everyone. We're going to get started now. Thanks for joining us. I'm David, Head of Support at GovernorHub, and yes, the year is 2024. Thanks for pointing that out. This morning marks the start of our new series of training on GovernorHub. We tend to do quite long training sessions, giving overviews of the whole site and all the functions, and of course it is quite a complex site with lots of things that you can do. What we've decided to do this term is to focus in on specific parts of the site, so keep it nice and short, nice and punchy, and hopefully really relevant to specific things that you'd like to know about how to do on GovernorHub. So this morning we're going to have a look at the document area, how to work and manage documents in GovernorHub. If you are familiar with GovernorHub and the document area, a lot of this will be familiar to you already, but there may be some functions and some extra things that you might not be sure about. So feel free to stay on the call. The session is being recorded, so if by any chance you need to drop out or head off during the meeting, we will send the recording out afterwards anyway. Okay, let's get cracking then. And we will get started. Just a quick overview. We're going to talk about uploading documents, getting things onto GovernorHub in the first place, managing your files and folders, how to edit and share specific documents, signing things and dealing with review dates and policies, and of course downloading and printing and sort of general access restrictions and that sort of thing as well. Hopefully that will be helpful. Okay. We'll get cracking. First up is your main page in GovernorHub. Your school or your trust page may look something like this, with a bunch of icons across the top. And what we're looking at today is focusing on the document tab beneath. So if you're clicking into a school account or a trust account, click straight into that document area and your school documents should be listed in there. Okay. Everyone's is going to look slightly different. We know from experience, every admin, every clerk, every school handles their documentation in a slightly different way. There's no standard way of doing this. So if you're seeing things on this page which are not on your school board documents, then don't worry about that. Yours will look slightly different, and we'll talk about that in a moment. So first thing to notice is the document area on GovernorHub is a secure area. Okay, it's within the site. You need to log into the site. All the documentation stored within GovernorHub. It's stored on our secure database. It's a really nice, secure system. When you have access to the document site, document tab in GovernorHub, it's a multifunction page. It will handle most major document types. So you'll be able to upload Word documents, Excel files, PDF, all that sort of thing. And GovernorHub will be able to deal with those types of files. So how do you get started? How do you add things to your document area? I want to draw your attention to the little plus add button on the right-hand side at the top here. Easiest way to do that is to click one of the options from the list there. You can create new folders, so get your folder structure in place before you upload a files. You can upload a folder directly from your computer, or indeed upload an individual file or a web link, which we'll talk through all these options in a moment. So if we let's have a look at upload a file. We're going to open up a new file here, and we'll pick something and we can open it and upload it that way. The other way, which I just wanted to show you here, is if you do have a folder open on your computer with files in it, it's a drag and drop document area. So the idea of this is that you should have your documents open in your document folder and then drag them into GovernorHub, and they should upload without too much trouble. Let's have a look here. In fact, let me find my other panel. Here it is. Okay, so let's say we've got a Word document that we want to upload to the site. You can upload it using the add button, as we've mentioned, or you can have it open like I've got on the screen here and just drag that across and you'll see it starts to turn blue and it says the word copy next to the document. So we're going to try that, and little bar appears at the top, and there we have the Word document into the document section in GovernorHub, and you can see it's uploaded by me a few seconds ago. So we've got a little bit of information about it. We've got the title of the document, who uploaded it, when it was uploaded, and crucially who it's visible to. So you can see here we've got a rough guide when these folders were last modified or changed or accessed in that way, and we've got who they are visible to. We'll come back to this right hand column shortly. So we've got a way of getting documents onto GovernorHub directly through the add button, or dragging them in and uploading them that way. You do want to find your documents once you've uploaded them. I'm sure you'll have quite a complex file system, but I want to draw your attention to the magnifying glass icon at the top right here, and this will search file names. So if you're looking for something that was in a meeting in September, if that file is or folder is located, is named with September in the title, you'll be able to locate that very easily, whatever the title is. So it's worth thinking about when you're uploading things to GovernorHub in terms of meeting dates, months, even spring term, summer term, something like that. It's worth having those file names, those text clues included in the file name, so that you can easily search for them afterwards, and that sort of thing. As I mentioned, there's no set way of organising your documentation. We do have a help article on this, so if you are looking for ideas, you may want to head over to our help centre, which is here at help.governorhub.com, and our help centre gives you an article with recommendations here. Things like organising folders in date order, meeting order, working with policies, that sort of thing. So if you're looking for ideas about how to keep things neat and tidy, that's a really good starting point. I can just see a couple of people got their hands up. Thank you for participating. I won't be taking questions during the demo. We've got the rest of the support team, Jane and Leonie and Jade, are on hand with the chat. So do pop your questions in the chat, and we'll try and get around to as many as we can. And we'll have a quick review of that at the end. So organising your folders is up to you. Organising your files, we can give you some pointers on that, but like I said, every admin, every clerk will have their own ideas about how to do this in an efficient and tidy way. Couple of things just to notice about renaming and moving things around, so tidying up your documents. The document itself, or the file itself, the name is displayed here, and to make any changes to this, really what we're asking to do, what we're hoping you will do here, is click onto the right hand menu, and you can see you'll find this menu icon all over GovernorHub. This little pillar of 3 dots usually indicates there's some options for you. So if you go over to the document or folder you're looking at and click on the menu button, you will see a whole bunch of options enabling you to make changes to that document or folder. So first one here is rename that we're looking at. We're going to look at rename, and if you click there, you can see it's going to give you the option to edit this. So we might just put that in with an additional date, okay? Or we might say, spring term, something like that, so that we've got a reference point in which to search from using that magnifying glass icon that we talked a moment ago. So renaming things is easy enough from the right hand menu, and that works for files and folders. Now, if we click into a folder in GovernorHub, and you'll see here, this is one of our recommended ways of organising. This is, academic years, and then by term and that sort of thing within that, with your meeting dates. So you can see we've got some particular files within this here, and the rename function works in the same way for an individual file. Now, moving things around, if you do wish to move documents around, then we've got lots of options for you here. The easiest one to use is the Move To button. Okay, so we can click on that, and the new pop-up will open, and it will basically give you an overview of your folder structure on GovernorHub. So clicking back through the folder here using the back arrow, and you can say, right, well, I'm going to move this to another folder in the document area. So it's easy enough to move things between folders, okay, if it happens to have been uploaded to the wrong place or what have you. Occasionally, you might not want to move the actual document. You might just want to place a copy of it in another folder, in which case you can also do that from this menu. So what we'll do this time is we'll click first on the Make a Copy button, which is here, and you'll see it automatically renames it with a copy of whatever document. And then from that same menu, you can then move that copy into another folder, which I will do now. Let's pop that in the Governor Evidence folder, and that one will ping off into the Government Evidence folder. Just a word of caution on that. If you are creating multiple versions of documents, please be aware that, if people are editing these, and they're sort of not live documents, live editing, then obviously you've got to manage multiple copies of that document. If you update one, the others may not update automatically. So just a word of caution when you're copying documents into other locations. Another way around that, if you do want to keep one central document in place, but have people access that from different folders, is to create a link to that. Okay, so it's as simple as copying the link to clipboard. So this is another option again from that right-hand menu. So this time, instead of making a copy of that, we can take that link, copy link to clipboard, and we can paste that elsewhere in the site, whether that's another folder or on the notice board or into another document, and that sort of thing. That's quite a useful thing to link off to. Good. Now, in terms of organising your documents, then that's how you're going to rename things, move things around, copy items as needed, and making sure you've got the right structure for your documents here. A couple of things I just want to draw your attention to when we're looking at the front page of this document area. You can see we have folders first, documents, loose individual documents, as it were, uncategorized into folders. They appear at the bottom there. And we also, at the top of this area, have some pinned items. So if there's something particular you really want to draw people's attention to, you can pin that item to the top of the notice board, and it's not going to get displaced then. So, if I was uploading another 3 or 4 folders, it might change the order of those folders that are existing in the document area. If you do want things to sort of maintain their position, then obviously you can rename folders or you can pin them to the top. So let's have a look at that. If we wanted to pin the full governing board folder in place, what we'd simply do from the right-hand menu again is pin that to the top of the folder. And that's now moved up into the pinned items section at the top. That's going to stay put. So even if we rename and reorganize the rest of the folders, that one's going to sit nicely at the top of the page. It's not going to go anywhere. Okay. Hopefully that's a useful tip. And unpinning happens from the same place. So we can, again, from the menu, unpin that folder, and it comes back into the main sort of hierarchy of the folder. All right. Now, what happens when you click on a document in GovernorHub? So if we click actually into this Word document here, the thing that's going to happen here is the document's going to open up in a preview window. Okay, really important to realize that. It's not going to download to your computer and open up using the program. So you may have, Microsoft Word or Google Docs or something installed. When you click on a document in GovernorHub, it's going to open online from the website. It's not going to open up in the actual program unless you download it. So you'll see here that we have the file preview window. And to get back to GovernorHub, you just have to click the back button. Now, a couple of things about this. This preview system is really useful for loading things online really quickly and efficiently, which is why we use it. However, it can mean that as a matter of first click, you don't get multiple documents open. If I wanted to open both of these documents at the same time, if I click through to one, it's just going to open immediately. So there is an option here, again from the right-hand menu, to open this in a new window or tab. If you do need to have multiple documents open in multiple tabs, then this is the way to do it. You can do this rather than just clicking directly onto the document title, head to that menu, open in a new window or tab. That's now going to open in the adjacent tab, and you've still got your document area open here. So I can do the same thing with this one. So now we've got both documents open in tabs, and we've still got the document area itself open for reference. The other shortcut here, which I can tell you about, is using the control button on your keyboard. So if you do have, rather than clicking through to the open option here, what you can do is hold the control button down on your keyboard, click on the title, and that will actually ping it open in the new tab most of the time. Okay. That comes up fairly often, people asking about opening multiple documents. So hopefully that's helpful. Just want to talk about online editing for a moment. We do have the facility. If you've used Google Docs or some sort of online editing system, you may well be used to collaborative working. So having a document open, maybe 4, 5, 6 people working on that document, making edits, making comments, making suggestions, and there being one central version of that document. Now, this is not turned on as standard for GovernorHub accounts. And the reason for that is because we're using the file preview system, it's actually a Microsoft feature. And to have the online editing functions available, members need to have a Microsoft Office 365 linked email address. I hope that makes sense. So when I click through to a document on GovernorHub, because I have an Office 365 subscription and I'm logged in with that particular email, those functions are available to me in the online preview. So you can see here, I can edit, I can comment, all of these things. Now, a lot of schools don't offer that to governors. They don't have governor emails linked to the school office subscription and that sort of thing. If you do have that, we can turn this on for you. That's no problem. Please contact our help desk at support@governorhub.com. We'd be very happy to turn the online editing on for you. If your school doesn't offer that and you don't have the ability to get online and do a sort of collaborative document, how do you edit things in GovernorHub? I suppose the easiest way to do this is to download a copy of the document, make your changes, and then re-upload to GovernorHub. Okay. And that's absolutely fine to do if that's the way you're used to working, downloading things, making those changes, and then re-uploading, perhaps with a slightly different file name. You might call it version 2 or with comments or something like that. That's absolutely fine. So let's talk about that for a moment. If you do need to download a document to make changes, then very simply, again from the right-hand menu, the option second from top is download, and what we can do is we can download that and that, if I click on that, that will open directly on my computer in the Word program that's installed on my computer. I can then make some changes and suggestions and comments and that sort of thing. I can then save that to my computer and re-upload it. So that's one way of working with documents on GovernorHub. And the other way, of course, is to have the online editing turned on. So do let us know if you need that. All right, I'm just going to pause there, check my list of things to cover, make sure I've got it all. Yeah, that's really good. Now, while we're talking about editing, there will be times when it's not appropriate for everyone to be editing documents and making substantive changes to things. So we've got the option on GovernorHub of locking down documents so that they're read-only for governors. Governors can come in and look at things and read the documents and take in that information. but they can't make the changes and edit things and delete information by accident, that sort of thing. So again, from the right-hand menu, we have a nice option here, which is lock. And you'll see this is a padlock icon, which appears next to the document, which you've selected to lock. Now, this is an admin only function, so it's just worth pausing for a moment to talk about what you can and can't do if you're an administrator on GovernorHub versus a normal governor with just GovernorHub access. Every account on GovernorHub will have at least one administrator who has additional rights on the account and can make these sorts of changes. So if you're clicking into the menu and you're not seeing the lock icon or unlock icon, that probably means that you don't have the admin rights to be able to make that decision. And what you'll need to do is to contact the administrator of your account to make that sort of change for you. If you are an admin, you will have these extra options on the right-hand side in the menu here, such as lock and unlock. And if we hover over the padlock icon there, you can see this file is now locked and only administrators can modify it. So anyone clicking through to this agenda document can read it still. It's still perfectly accessible. It's accessible to all the members of the governing board, as you can see from the right-hand column. But what it does mean is that governors can't type comments in, they can't make those sorts of changes to the document, they can't delete paragraphs and that sort of thing. So it might be worth thinking about, as you upload your documents, what do we need? Are there things which should be locked? Are there things which should be open and accessible and able to be edited by each member of the governing board, not just the administrators? It's worth putting a little bit of thought into that when you're organising your files. Okay, let's carry on with the theme of restricting access for a moment. There will be times when documents need to be locked. There will also be times when certain folders or documents don't need to be accessible to absolutely everyone. Obviously, the idea here is that governance should be transparent and open, and channels of communication and information should be flowing freely. There will be times when that's not appropriate and a little bit of restriction needs to be in place. So let's head back here, and you can see on our front document page here, most of these files and folders are completely accessible to everyone. So if we're looking on the right-hand column, which is visible to, most of these are accessible to the full governing board. You'll notice perhaps at the bottom here, we have a folder with a red warning on it. The clerk only folder is currently restricted visibility. And that's because in this column here, an administrator has changed that so that it is locked down to a particular group or committee, if you like, I suppose, of people. And this one happens to be called clerk only. So if I click on this, you'll see we've actually got two options. We've got a governing board option for everyone, and we've got the clerk only. Now, if you are an administrator, you may wish to set up a different group of people to look at documents. Now, you're going to do this from the committees tab. So we're going to branch out here just from the document area ever so briefly. And you can see here, if we sit under the committees tab on GovernorHub, which sits under the governing board tab, we actually have one committee already, and it's the clerk only. If you are an administrator, you may wish to make a new committee. We're using committee in this sense to mean a group of people of the members on your account. So let's say we had a safeguarding folder that needed to be looked at by only members of the safeguarding committee. We could make a safeguarding committee here, and we can add some members to that. We'll pop a couple of members in here. And it's always best to make sure there's someone set as admin of a particular committee, because you won't be able to make changes to it if you're not an admin. So now we've got an additional committee here with 3 people in it. And whilst that doesn't change much on GovernorHub in terms of access, what we can do now, if I refresh the page here, is that should give us an additional option. Okay, and you can see here, if I click into the visible to folder on the right-hand side now, we now have three options. We have the full governing board, so that's everyone. We have that clerk-only option that was available earlier, and we now have a safeguarding option. So I can restrict this folder if I have admin rights, of course. We've now made this folder a restricted visibility folder. And we've indicated who it's for. And because we know there's only three people in that group, in that committee, this folder now is only visible to those three people. Okay, so as well as locking documents down for editing purposes, if you do need to maybe just tailor the document area to certain groups within your account, then that is the way to do it. But you do need admin rights to do that. Okay, and like I said, the majority of folders should really be accessible to most members as a matter of course. I'm going to unrestrict that again. Okay. Excuse me. Now, taking that a step further, you can lock documents down, you can restrict the folders themselves. You may also want to think about how governors have access online through GovernorHub, but also the ability to download documents. And there is a security concern there, isn't there, around unsecured documents. If your governors are downloading things to their personal machines, personal devices, are those devices secure? What measures have they got in place? Antivirus, PIN numbers, whatever it happens to be, to keep that documentation safe and secure as it is on the GovernorHub site. So let's just think about that for a moment. If you do have an item in GovernorHub, your governors will have the option to download that, even if it's locked. So it's locked for online editing, but your governors could still potentially download that to their machines. You may wish to also think about the option to disable downloading. Now, if you're an admin, again, from that right-hand menu, you will see here at the bottom, you've got an option there to disable the downloads. So not only is it locked, but we've now also removed the option for governors to take that away and put it in the downloads folder on their computer. I believe that button also prevents printing. So if your governors are trying to print a copy of something off, that's not going to happen if you disable the download option. So now, what are we saying? This 1st of September item here is really only visible online. Your governors have to log into GovernorHub, they have to have access to that folder, and they can click on it and view it in the preview window online. But there is other than that, there's no way of them downloading it or printing it or having any other access to it. So it's just another level of security that you may want to think about when dealing with documents. Of course, the other thing which happens with documents here is sharing things out. So, once you've got these documents on the system and you've got your folder structure in place and you've got your restrictions and things are locked down, how are you going to share these out with your governors? How are they going to get access to this and how are they going to know what's on there? And again, the easiest way here is from the right-hand menu. We'll click through and very simply from that right-hand menu, the top option on the menu there is to share on the notice board. Okay, so we'll go through this now. If I want to share this agenda out, I do want to let governors know it's there and they can have a look at it. So we're going to click share on the notice board. Now, a couple of things happen. It's going to take us from that document area over to the notice board tab. From there, you can see the notice board below, but in the top box here, we have a new draft message. It's not been sent out yet, but this is what it says. Have a look at this. And we've got a link to the agenda document. So you may want to edit this for politeness. And the link to the document is there. How are you going to send this out? You can then make the notice appear on the notice board by sending the notice by the send button. But you also have the option to notify your members via email. So by default, this is going to go to all members of the governing board. So if I click send, we're going to get a new notice and everyone's going to get a notification email saying, hey, have a look, come click through and read this document. However, you may wish to change that. You might have a particular group of people that need to be told about something. Instead, it's possible to send documents out to just a particular committee that you've already set up, like the safeguarding committee we looked at earlier, or indeed just picking a couple of people off the list. So scrolling down, I say these 2 people really need to know about this document actually. So whilst it's going to be on the notice board, I'm actually going to send an email just to those 2 people. Okay. That's how it's going to be shared out. Now, I'm going to send this out to everyone. So you can see here, a couple of things happened. Click the send button. That's now part of the notice board. Here's the message. Here's the document. Everyone on the account has now received a notification email about that with the document link as part of the email. Now, talking about data security and that sort of thing, it's really important to realize we've not actually sent the document. So all those governors haven't just received a Word document pinging into their inbox, which may or may not be on an unsecured device. What we've done there is we've sent the link to them as part of that email. So even if they get that email in their inbox and they click on the link, they will still need to come through to GovernorHub and enter their password and log in the usual way and access the document from there. Just a word on data restriction, because it is possible to share things from a restricted folder. So if there's nothing in there, but if we did have a document in the restricted folder, we could still share it out in the same way on the notice board. The link would appear on the notice board for everyone to see, and we could send that out via the notice board emails. But the data restriction stays in place. So even though the link has been sent, and even though it appears on the notice board, because this clerk-only folder is for only the clerk, that link won't work for anyone except that person. Okay, so that remains in place, that link between the committee group, the document folder, and the emails, that all remains in place if you're sharing things out from a restricted folder. Please do note, though, that everything on the notice board is visible to everyone. So even if I send that out to, just the clerk, and we'll send that out now, even though that link is only for the clerk and that person's received the message about it, everyone else will be able to see that on the notice board. That's just a way of making things transparent and creating that dialogue around governance. Okay, heading back to our document area, we've talked about uploading things, moving things around, editing online or on your computer and re-uploading. We talked about restricting access in terms of folders, locking documents, disabling downloads and printing, and sharing those things out with those restrictions in place on the notice board. Got a couple of other things to run through before we finish today. You'll notice at the top of the account here on the document area, we have something which looks a little different. It's not looking like a folder. It's not looking like a Word document or an Excel spreadsheet. It's actually a link. And these are links to the school Facebook page or the school website or whatever it happens to be. So if I click on that, that should open us up in a new window and take us to somewhere else. So in GovernorHub, it's possible to share a link rather than an actual document or something like that. So let's have a look at this now. You might, you might be browsing the internet and be thinking, oh, I've read something on Schools Week or the BBC or something which looks interesting to my governors. Maybe they want to know about it. How am I going to share this with them? Well, you can copy the web address from whichever article you're looking at. You can come back into GovernorHub, and from that add button at the top right, this time you're not going to add a file or a folder. You're going to choose the add a web link folder, web link button. Now, I've got a couple of options here. The actual link to the article or website that you're posting needs to be copy and pasted in here. So that's the actual website address. Okay, but you can then call it something. So this could be article on T levels. Okay, that's a nice summary of what that article's about. And I can create that into GovernorHub, and you'll see here it's now uploaded into the document area itself. So we've now got a direct link off-site but your members can now see that and click through to that. So if you've got school data, which is hosted on a school server, which governors don't always have access to as a matter of course, but you want to share a particular report or a particular folder within a secure system elsewhere, you can share the direct link within GovernorHub from there. Now, again, if I wanted to pin that, I could pin that to the top. So that now becomes part of my links at the top of the document section. Okay. Grand. I'm just going to pause there and review my list of things. Chat's looking quite busy as well. That's quite good. Okay, yes. Now, nearly there. Just going to talk about signing documents and dealing with policies. We've talked about sharing things out and getting your things on the system in the first place. Governors will need to interact with these at some point, whether that's opening them to read or leaving comments or suggestions as part of a thread, which they can do on the notice board, of course. You may have minutes and things that people need to sign off, and people need to agree policies and things like that. So let's talk about that. Let's say item 4 here is something that everyone needs to read and agree on. Most sensible way to do that would be to share on the notice board, as we've already discussed. And then once your governors have looked at this and read it, they can leave a comment on the notice board. They can create a dialogue around it. And if they need to make a signature to say they agree with that and have signed it off, what they can do is click through to find the item in the document area itself. And again, from this right-hand menu, they've got an option here called Mark as Signed. So if we click on that, we'll now see beneath the item 4, we've actually got a little indication here. This is marked as signed by me. And if I hover over that, you'll be able to see the date on which I've signed that off. Okay. Now, obviously, I'm doing this as a demo today, but it is possible to get multiple people to sign off a document. So in the event that 8 people sign this document, it will say all 8 of them and the date that they have signed off on there. Please note, this doesn't actually appear on the document in itself. Okay, it's a balance with GovernorHub. What we've decided not to do is not to append anything to documents. So the document itself remains as is. But what we have done is say on GovernorHub, this person has approved this by adding a little signature, which is indicated within GovernorHub. So again, that signature doesn't appear within the document itself, but if you're looking at GovernorHub, you can quite easily see who signed it, who signed things off. Okay, so your governors can interact with documents here by signing things off. Come back to how your clerks or admins can get an overview of that in just a moment, because they may want to do something similar with policies. Now, if you're dealing with policies in GovernorHub, you may well have a policies folder. You may well have a whole host of policies to keep track of in an average year. How do you schedule this so that it's manageable? You don't want to be reviewing 50,000 policies in one meeting. You want to ideally spread this load out over the year, and renewal dates for policies, they need to be revisited throughout the year. Your clerks and admins can keep track of this by creating a policies folder in GovernorHub, getting your policies uploaded, and then from the right-hand menu again, this time your clerks and admins can use the set a review date option. So if I set a review date here, let's have a look at this. This probably needs to be done before Easter, so I'm going to pick that date. And you will see now, the safeguarding policy is up for review. The review is due on the 12th of March, 2024. Now, this is showing up in orange. We have a sort of red, amber, green system here. Anything that's a way off in the future, more than a term. So if I'd set that to September or something, 2024, that would show up in green. That policy is not due for review for quite a while. So there's plenty of time to schedule that in later in the year. amber or orange is going to be fairly imminent. That's looking like it needs to be done this term. So that's showing up on GovernorHub. And obviously, red indicates that it's gone past the review date. So any policies with review dates showing up in red probably need to have been done and talked about in a previous meeting. Let's set one up here so you can see what I'm talking about. Set another review date. This time we'll make it go a little bit further. This one's autumn term 24, so we can do that. And there we go. We've got a kind of different colour there showing up. Okay, so it's nice to keep track of your policies in a folder using a red, amber, green system, and get your governors to sign those off. Again, once the policy is agreed, your members can sign that off on GovernorHub as well. So it's possible to have the review date and the signatures attached to the same document. Okay, we'll just head out of the document area for a moment to talk about how you get an oversight of that. Obviously, if you've got a policy folder, you can see the policies that are in there. If you've got things which need to be signed, they may well be in different folders. How do you see these? Here's where we're going to head out to the About tab. And underneath there is the Downloads area. And this is your area for getting information back from GovernorHub. You're putting all this information in the system, all your documents, review dates, all that signature data. How are you going to see it? So you can scroll down to the bottom of the Downloads tab here, and you've got a couple of handy reports. Document review dates, a list of documents with review dates. Now, this is going to search through your document area and say, right, all of these documents happen to have review dates. So rather than clicking through each folder and looking for them all, you could say, right, well, I need to know exactly what we've got. And we've got two documents at the moment with the review dates on. So it's a nice, easy way of keeping track of those as an overview, as a sort of top level. And you can do the same with signed documents. So again, who's signed what and when. Click the button, and these are available in different formats, by the way, PDF or Word. We'd recommend the Excel version if you need to make filter it by date or by term or by person. Probably opening it in the spreadsheet is the easiest way to do that, and then applying a filter to that. So that's a nice easy way of checking up on those documents and getting a top level overview. Right, I think we might be nearly there. We're on time. This is good news. Let me just consult my list. I think we've talked about most of those points. That is really good. So hopefully, I'm going to wrap up now, but hopefully you can see, it's a really secure and versatile system designed to give you the access that you need, give you the opportunity to restrict things where needed and share information out, and keep that governance nice and effective and efficient. And all those little tips and tricks in GovernorHub will be hopefully helpful to you and your board. Now's a good moment just to say thank you for coming along. Hopefully that's been useful to you and to your administrators. If you do have any questions following this demo, you can get in touch with us anytime. We'd really like to hear from you on the chat button on the site, or you can email us at support@governorhub.com. And do check out our future training dates. We've got a few more sessions booked in already. You can see a summary of them there. You can find them all on our help site, which is help.governorhub.com. We've got our knowledge demo this Friday. We've got dealing with members, dealing with your board membership, similar to what we've done today, but with members rather than documents, in February. We've got declarations and confirmations. We know that's a big thing every year. So that's coming up at the end of February. And we've got how to set up and manage your meetings, and that's coming up in March. So do sign up to those demos if you're available. And don't forget, we'll send out the videos. So if you do want to register, even if you can't make it on the day, if you pop your email address on the list, we'll be able to send you the video once we're done. All right, I'm just going to have a quick look at the chat, make sure we've not missed anything. That's really nice. Some lovely kind words there. Thank you, everyone. Sorry if we've not answered your queries. If you've got something which we have not dealt with, do feel free to pop it over to the help desk on support@governorhub.com, and we'd be really happy to talk it through there. Okay, thanks everyone. Take care.